Welcome to Basketball Cinema, where we revisit the most important and iconic games in NBA history. I'm Jay Canada, and today we're looking at Game 4 of the 2000 NBA Finals between the Indiana Pacers and LA Lakers. For the first time here on my channel, today marks the beginning of an extended 4-week series looking at one player. As you've probably already been able to deduce, that player is the late great Kobe Bryant. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be taking a wide lens view at Kobe's legendary career, stopping in at 4 different iconic moments from the Mamba that took place at and shaped the different stages of his career. Obviously, choosing just 4 games specifically to look at was a challenge considering how illustrious a career Kobe had, but I tried my best to pick out games that I'm confident we'll all find fascinating. I usually don't do this till the end of videos at least, but if you happen to be new to my channel and you're a fan of Kobe, do me a favor and subscribe. I love making these videos, so obviously I'm not going to stop, but they do require a ton of work, so any support is appreciated. But anyways, enough self-indulgence. On to early career Kobe Bryant. In 1996, an 18-year-old Kobe Bryant debuted in the NBA for the Los Angeles Lakers, coinciding with the arrival of Shaquille O'Neal in Hollywood. Bryant was acquired by LA from the Hornets at the 1996 NBA draft, where he was the 13th pick. Shaq, meanwhile, joined the Lakers as a free agent following 4 very successful seasons with the Orlando Magic. Kobe wasn't the Mamba in the early stages of his career. He would start just 6 games as a rookie, averaging under 8 points a game, and coming up short in the playoffs.
7 seconds. Here's a three-pointer, air ball at the end by Kobe Bryant. Another air ball.
That moment against the Jazz, however, was just a temporary setback, which Shaq knew immediately.
I was the first one to come grab you and say, hey, I know everybody's laughing and giggling now, but one day people will fear you at the end of the game.
And boy, was he right. In his second season, Kobe would make his first of 18 All-Star Game appearances alongside Shaq, and the Lakers would advance a bit further come playoff time, eventually losing to the Jazz again, this time in the conference finals. It was early on in their tenure as teammates that Kobe admitted to seeing a similar burning passion for winning in Shaq. Despite where their relationship would eventually go, the two spoke the same language in the early days.
Man, he wants this thing. It affects him, right? I mean, it consumes him. And then from that moment on, I knew we spoke the same language. It doesn't matter if we had disagreements with any other, our drive to win, like we have to win. There's no other option. We're gonna figure this out, we're gonna get this done.
And figure it out? They didn't, at least not in 1999. Kobe's third season, a lockout-shortened year, saw more development from Bean as he became a full-time starter for the first time and averaged a sliver under 20 points a game for the season, finally proving that yes, he was ready to take the association by storm. Shaq, however, saw his individual numbers slip just a bit, and the Lakers were sent home come playoff time in the second round by the San Antonio Spurs. The honeymoon phase was over for the Shaq-Kobe Lakers, as the Diesel was now preparing for his 8th NBA season and had yet to accomplish his goal of winning a championship. Despite his youth, Kobe was cerebral enough to know failure wasn't an option any longer for the purple and gold.
I'm looking at the Lakers uniform that you guys have in the background. I'm just thinking about the tradition, thinking about all the great players that came through this Laker organization, and that's just not going to happen.
And things clicked for Kobe, Shaq, and the Lakers in the 1999-2000 season. Thanks in large part to former Bulls boss Phil Jackson being hired as head coach, the Lakers won 67 games, most in the league, and were a true force to be reckoned with. Shaq averaged 30 points, 14 rebounds per game en route to winning MVP, the most dominant season of his great career. Meanwhile, Kobe had become a superstar second option. At just 21 years of age, he averaged 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Kobe was named an All-Star as well to the All-NBA and All-Defensive teams, and come playoff time, he was ready to exercise some demons. The Lakers took a combined 10 games to dispatch the Kings and Suns in the first 2 rounds of the 2000 playoffs, with Kobe putting up a sparkling 24 points a game on 47% shooting. His individual numbers slipped in the conference finals as Portland took the Lakers to 7 games, but in games 6 and 7, Kobe scored 33 and 25 points respectively, and paired with Shaq for one of the most iconic plays we've ever seen.
Bryant to Shaq!
And so we arrive in the 2000 NBA Finals, Shaq returning to the big stage for the first time since 1995 and Kobe there for the first time. Unfortunately for Bryant, it wasn't close to a picture-perfect scenario either. After posting 14 points in a Game 1 victory, this happened to Kobe in Game 2.
Dans ce premier carton, Kobe Bryant. Oh là là que c'est fort!
Il s'est fait mal à la cheville! C'est peut-être un tournant!
foul.
A devastating ankle roll landing on Jalen Rose's foot on a closeout, except I'm sorry, he didn't land on Jalen Rose's ankle. The former Michigan star admitted following his retirement that he intentionally hurt Kobe on this play.
I don't think it's cool. I don't think I'm hard because I tried to hurt Kobe Bryant in a game. I'm disgusted by it because, you know, I wanted to win that bad that I was willing to basically cheat to do it.
Obviously props to Jalen for eventually owning up to it, but I've got 81 reasons to believe Kobe never forgave him. Bryant would miss Game 3 entirely thanks to that brutal ankle injury, and Shaq alone wasn't enough to power the Lakers to a victory. So the door had swung open for the Pacers, a chance to even the series at 2 games apiece on their home floor in Game 4. Indiana had zero answer for Shaq in the series, as to this point Diesel was averaging 39 points, 19 rebounds per game. Holy, what? That cannot be right. But Kobe was hobbling, and this was their chance to strike and to make it a series. Alright, okay, I know you might be asking at this point, how can this video be titled Kobe Saves Shaq when Shaq was busy having arguably the greatest finals performance ever? Well, I won't spoil exactly how this game plays out, but trust me that despite Shaq's Thanos-like destruction in this series, this was Kobe's true breakout moment. Here, I'll show you the proof. Hey, look who it is! Mama, there goes Mark Jackson. I wonder if he trash talked in terrible one-liners while he played too. Reggie Miller, as you'd expect, ready to play out the gates, connecting on a triple for the first points of the game. The tallest white dude on the court, Rick Smits, not scared of Shaq, a nifty turnaround for 2. Smits then contested Shaq at the rim, fouling Diesel, but that was a good strategy. Despite scoring literally a million points, Shaq really couldn't shoot free throws. Kobe's first attempt of the game, a super uncomfortable looking double clutch jumper. Everyone getting going on the Pacer side, as Jalen Rose dropped in a lefty floater. Jalen though followed that up with a really dumb play, fouling Glenn Rice, giving the vet a shot at a 4-point play. Some nice penetration and vision from Kobe to set it up. Watch prime Shaquille O'Neal at work. Just watch. Tipping an offensive rebound up to himself like a volleyball, then cramming all over Dale Davis. It's like when you see one 6'4" kid playing in an elementary school game, it's just unfair. Kobe Bryant really wasn't moving well to start the game, but turned and faded over Mark Jackson for his first bucket. Mark, why was your hand down? Don't you know the rules? Veteran AC Green with a tough finish against Smits plus the foul, but Uncle Reg with a pure sidestep 3 to put the Pacers back up 5. More Kobe struggles in the opening frame, getting called for a travel as his ankle failed to properly plant on the drive. Glenn Rice an early 7 points after another perimeter jumper, while Jackson scoring his first bucket of the game on the float. The Lakers were struggling in the first, but Robert Horry with a long stride and finish at the rim. Old man Sam Perkins stretching the floor for Indiana, connecting on a deep bomb to go up 9. Sharpshooter Austin Crozier with a flush before the end of the quarter. Led by 10 points from Reggie Miller, the Pacers had a 10-point lead through 12. Speaking of Reggie Miller, he's super interesting to me. He's a name basically every NBA fan is familiar with because he's a Hall of Famer, he's currently a primetime broadcaster, and of course he's involved in a ton of legendary NBA stories, from Spike Lee to Michael Jordan. But I forgot just how crisp and clean Reggie's resume actually is. For a 12-year stretch in his career from 1990 through 2001, Reg averaged 21 points a game on a scintillating 62% true shooting clip. He made 5 All-Star games from the relatively small market Pacers franchise and was 3-time All-NBA. In 22 games during the 2000 playoffs run, at the age of 34, Miller put up 24 a game and nearly led the Pacers to the promised land. For whatever reason, it feels like Reggie's persona and bravado are more remembered than his on-court production. But man, that's a mistake. He was a hooper. Second hoop of the game for Kobe, a nice screen set by Rick Fox to free him up for a wide open midi. A quick battle of backup point guards here. Travis Best a pull-up lefty jumper from the elbow. Derek Fisher one of his own from the top of the arc, but Best on the drive getting the best of Fish. Lakers still down 7. Kobe from the triangle offense finding a freed Rick Fox under the rim for a gimme. Shaq started just 1 for 6 from the field in this game, but finally got on track, pinning Perkins under the rim before throwing down with ease. Next time down, Kobe punishing Reggie Miller on the low block, fading into the paint for the deuce. 6 points to go along with 4 assists in the opening half for Mamba. Yo, where's my fellow Grey's Anatomy heads at? My guy Justin Chambers, aka Dr. Alex Karev, was in a Calvin Klein commercial in the year 2000. I mean, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was all Shaq to end the half, patiently waiting, drop stepping, and dunking on Rick Smits. Kobe picking up some loose change with the steal on defense before sauntering up the court, coast to coast, and dropping off a perfect wraparound dime to Shaq for the flush. O'Neal again from the post, this time an unguardable bounce to his right and push shot from the lane. With time waning, Robert Horry Johnny on the spot with an O board, then and one. Lakers had cut the Pacers lead down to 3 at the halftime break. Jalen Rose starting the second half with a pull-up midi. Kobe actually picked up his 4th foul early in the third, but Phil electing to keep his young star in the game. He answered with a risky block on Mark Jackson. Even with the 4 fouls though, Kobe began to take over, dribbling to the baseline and connecting on a fade in Rick Smits' face. Another confident move as Kobe attacked Jackson from the top of the arc, dribbling left and double clutching on the pull-up for 2. Lakers pulling to within 1 of Indiana as Kobe once again attacked our guy Mark.
Doesn't take him long to get into the lane and hangs in the air with another beauty.
A perfect slash and finish for number 8. Heavy lifting done by Kobe, but it was the man they called G-Money stepping into a 3, connecting to give the Lakers their first lead of the game 62-60. That was Glenn Rice, by the way, in case you didn't know. One of my favorite aspects of looking into the Lakers' 3-peat run is basking in the glow of the volume of NBA that guys on their roster. The term that guy in this case means a player who you hear referenced or see on a stat page making you think, hey, it's that guy. In the case of the 2000 Lakers, in addition to the usual suspects, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Robert Horry, Derek Fisher, their roster also included Glenn Rice, that guy from the Miami Heat and Charlotte Hornets, Ron Harper, that guy from the Bulls and The Last Dance, AC Green, that guy from the Kareem Magic version of the Lakers. The only familiar piece missing was Kaiser Sose. But whether it's the cast of characters I just mentioned, or Horace Grant and Ty Lue in 2001, Mitch Richmond in 2002, the Lakers were certainly the place to jump to in the early 2000s to try and win a free ring. The game really got bogged down in the third, but a quick back and forth. Rick Smits continuing to cook, a simple hook after shedding the much smaller AC Green. Shaq with his first hoop of the quarter with a right-handed hook shot of his own. Another one from the unstoppable Shaq, tearing down a board and finishing plus the foul. He was just too big, man, just massive. Kobe without hesitation put the Lakers up 3, blowing past a helpless Reggie Miller before finishing with a dunk. Reggie with an answer fading away from the paint for a deuce, but Kobe with his 5th make of the quarter operating on Miller, making it look easy despite the bum ankle. This game really turned when Kobe started attacking, and he specifically attacked Reggie Miller. Kobe would later explain that he knew how to take advantage of the Pacers Hall of Famer.
I was filming some show at UCLA the summer before, and Reggie Miller was up there. And I said, let's play one-on-one. And we played one-on-one. I proceeded to really measure him and see what he liked to do defensively, see where he moved, see where he was weak at, what I could exploit. I knew what I could take, I knew what he would give me. And it was just a matter of just measuring him and going to work.
Thanks to 10 in the third from Kobe alone, the Lakers carried a 3-point lead into the 4th quarter. Robert Horry, as per usual, with a big shot to extend that lead to 5. That lead, though, was short-lived, as with Kobe on the bench, a super sexy step back from the mid-post for 2, Jalen Rose an easy finish on the interior, moments later Reggie Miller with a big-time triple after an unexpected O board by Travis Best, and finally,
Touch pass to the side. Big smooth, Sam Perkins. Happy 39.
another huge shot to give Indiana a 5-point lead. By the way, Big Smooth is an outstanding nickname. Okay, y'all, watch this insane play. Travis Best literally smacking Shaq in the face trying to prevent him from scoring. He was tagged with a flagrant, but also nearly died in the process. Shaq then made both the free throws. What's that saying about insult and injury? Moments later though, Shaq running through Big Smooth and was called for his 5th foul. Undeterred, on the next possession, Shaq turning and kissing off glass for a 2 over Perkins. Travis Best also using glass on the other end for Indy, but Kobe getting involved for his first hoop of the 4th, once again abusing Reggie Miller. Literally the only hope for Indiana at this point was that Shaq, I don't know, maybe would foul out? Taking an entry feed was the big fella, and finishing through contact for the hoop and the harm. 2 more of his 14 in the 4th. Putting up a turn and hook without a dribble, he did it so quickly so as not to draw a double team. Reggie Miller wasn't ready to throw in the towel though. A tough corner 3-point make to put his Pacers back up 1. Shortly thereafter,
Miller backs up for 3. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you, Doug Collins. Reggie Miller was backpacking the Pacers, just on his back. Flash forward to under 2 minutes remaining now. Pacers up by a single point. Lakers locked in on defense, including Kobe Bryant forcing Travis Best into an air ball from deep. Shaq had missed 3 of his previous 4 attempts from the stripe, so the Lakers instead went to...
Kobe fires the jumper and gives LA the lead.
The 21-year-old up to 20 on the game. Miller with a miss on a makeable attempt from the lane, but on the other end, Indiana would immediately foul Shaq on his touch. That would be a W for the Pacers as Shaq missed his second attempt. And you can see, despite his dominance, the slight issue of having Shaq. In the clutch, Indiana just wasn't letting him hold the ball or do anything. They just fouled him, and he wasn't a good free throw shooter. Indiana electing to go to 2000 Most Improved Player Jalen Rose to try and tie it up. His shot though fell way short, and the Pacers sent Robert Horry to the line. Fortunately for Indiana, poor free throw shooting I guess was contagious, as Big Shot Bob missed one, keeping it a 3-point game. And we've all seen this script like a million times in NBA games, right?
Travis Best. Miller trying to come off a screen. They find Perkins for 3, and he ties the game!
Was there any ever doubt? Of course the Pacers tied it up with a 3. The Lakers though back with possession under 30 seconds remaining. And unbelievably, Robert Horry again with a fumble of the bag, tossing the ball right out of bounds, giving Indiana a chance to win it on the other end.
8 seconds. Travis Best. Shaq out on him. Best with the shot. It's way short.
And okay, that was bad. Yeah, bad clock management, bad shot attempt. Yeah, just not good. The Lakers were left with just over 2 seconds left and actually got the look they wanted, but Shaq's footwork was a little wonky and his hook shot was just off. It's time for overtime. It's over. It's time for it's overtime. Robert Horry atoning for his previous mistake, stepping into a midi for 2. Again, Bob making a play, cleaning up a Shaq miss and giving the Lakers a 4-point lead. Rick Smits was actually a stud in this game, putting in 2 more of his 24 on the game. Watch Kobe here though, operating within a phone booth, finding some daylight and dropping in a floater. Reggie Miller on the other end, not to be outdone.
Looking for Smits, winds up in Miller's hands, backs up for 3. Can you believe that?
Up to 32 on the game? And that's a 2021-esque shot by Reg. The Pacers just had nothing for Shaq though. Yet another and one finish as Mark Jackson was like a mosquito on his shoulder. Huge moment in the game right here though, folks.
Misses it. Shaw grabs the rebound.
That's a loose ball foul on Shaq. That'll be number 6. What a big play.
That's it.
Yes, Bob Costas, that was it. Shaq fouling out with 36 points, 21 rebounds, and I feel like Shaq's incredulous face there should really become a meme. And here we are, at long last. This is where Kobe's legend was truly born. Playing on basically one ankle, Shaq fouling out, Pacers with the momentum in overtime looking to tie the NBA Finals.
Well, you know, I knew how much it meant to you, right? And as brothers, you don't let your brother down, right? It wasn't my time yet. This championship was yours, and it's my responsibility to pick that up.
Rick Smits immediately went to work, dropping in yet another hook shot with ease. Kobe Bryant, though, taking things into his own hands as promised, dribbling in isolation, eating up the shot clock before getting Reggie on his heels and connecting on a deep 2. Smits on repeat. From the post, yet another turn and hook over John Sally. Any guesses, though, on who the Lakers went to on the other end? Anybody want it? You have one guess.
They gotta get a stop here and give themselves a chance to take the lead, and you know Kobe is gonna go to work again.
Here he is over Jackson. How good is this kid?
Yes, Bob, this kid is really something else. And the swagger too, walking back down the court, mean mugging it? Jalen Rose would actually explain that Kobe response and attitude wonderfully.
And that's when he pointed to the ground after he made the jumper to get down and lay down. And that wasn't just to the opponent. That was to the media. That was to the fans. And you know what else? That was to his bench. That was them having to validate his greatness in front of the world.
Yeah, his greatness was tough to ignore in this moment, that's for sure. LA wasn't able to get a stop, which would have been huge, however. John Sally called for a blocking foul on Reggie Miller's drive. Reg would drop in both freebies to get back within 1. Kobe again initiating the action for the Lakers. This time trying to drive to the rack, he was sent back neatly by Rick Smits. With the shot clock running low, Glenn Rice trying to make a reappearance in this game, airballing a floater from the baseline, but Brian Shaw, of all people, putting back one of his only 2 baskets on the game. Kobe getting it done on both ends, Austin Crozier getting some room under the rim, but Bryant swatting it away. It was a bit anticlimactic though after that. Glenn Rice fouling Rick Smits underneath, he'd convert both and we were back to a 1-point game. 3-second shot and game clock differential, but the Pacers electing not to foul.
Shaw running one-hander, followed in by Kobe Bryant.
Reggie Miller some of his best defense of the game, denying Kobe of the ball up top. But for a split second, Reg lost Kobe and the young Mamba with a super clutch tip-in. No point in trying to not spoil any longer, as that tip-in would indeed be the game winner for the Lakers in Game 4. Reggie missed a decent look at what would have been a winner for himself, but instead a 3-1 series lead for LA. An insurmountable series deficit for Indiana, as the Lakers would go on to close this series in 6 games. In an early career-defining performance on one ankle, Kobe scored 28 points to go along with 5 assists and 2 blocks. Kobe scored 22 points alone in the second half and overtime, including 6 of the Lakers' 8 points with Shaq fouled out. Also the game winner, because yeah, that's just what the Mamba does. Again, it's at this moment I will once again point out that in emphasizing Kobe's impact on this series based on his Game 4 performance, I am in no way trying to rewrite the history of the Lakers three-peat. Shaquille O'Neal played at a level in 2000 specifically that we've basically never seen before, averaging an astounding 38 points, 17 rebounds per game. But far too often, people, including myself, try to play down what the 3 titles mean to Kobe Bryant's legacy, being dismissive of the accomplishment because he wasn't the #1 guy on the Lakers. It would be disingenuous to suggest he was more important or more valuable to these Lakers than Shaq, but if we're all being honest with ourselves, Kobe Bryant was the most overqualified second option of all time, at least until Kevin Durant Warriors, you know the story. Bryant's raw numbers in the 2000 finals ended up looking fairly weak, as he'd averaged just 16 points a game. But remember, that includes Game 3 in which he played just 8 minutes because of the ankle injury, and it doesn't emphasize the weight he carried after Shaq fouled out here in Game 4. Beyond fan arguments and all-time rankings discussions, however, this moment indeed was viewed by many as the defining Kobe moment, at least early in his career.
My favorite Kobe moment is in the finals in Indiana. I foul out.
Rose's 20-foot jumper, no good. Rebound should be Shaq. Smith's got it. Loose ball foul. Shaq is out of the game.
I'm like, damn, I let the team down again. And you put your hand on my shoulder and said, don't worry, big fella, I got it.
And that's Shaq speaking with hindsight of how the next few years would play out as well. Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and the LA Lakers would go on to win championships in both 2001 and 2002, with Kobe getting progressively better as an individual and carrying more of a load. Shaq would win all 3 Finals MVP awards as he was the most dominating presence in the league at the time, but Kobe posted 25 a game in the 01 Finals and 27 a game in the 02 Finals, most overqualified #2 option ever. Unfortunately, after the 2002 championship season, things were never truly the same for the Kobe Shaq Lakers. Bryant finished 3rd in MVP voting in 2003, but the Lakers floundered in the playoffs and fell to San Antonio in the 2nd round. LA tried to stack the deck prior to the 2004 season, but combined with off-court issues for Kobe and a growing rift between him and Shaq, the Lakers lost in the 2004 finals to Detroit and would disband shortly thereafter. When next we meet here in this special Kobe Bryant series on my channel, we won't be seeing Shaquille O'Neal. We'll chat a bit more about how their relationship soured, but for now, I'll leave you with this.
I don't care about anything else. It's winning championships. We don't have to like each other. But you will show up to practice every day, play hard. You will focus and commit to winning. And, you know, if that's the case, then we'll be just fine.
Kobe and Shaq, for a moment in time at least, had the same goals, ambitions, and work ethic. Well, maybe not work ethic. Kobe was kind of insane, you know, but they made it work. For each game covered here on Basketball Cinema, I'll be giving out 3 awards, beginning with the Clint Hawkeye Barton Award for Most Underrated Performer.
I don't care.
Which goes to Robert Horry. Big Shot Bob did get plenty of shine in this video, and he also made a bunch of mistakes, but he was the Lakers' third leading scorer with 17 points. I always find it interesting when diving into the three-peat Lakers games to see who, if anybody, emerges as a reliable third option. Off the bench, the 7-time NBA champ Ori played a tough 37 minutes in this matchup and would average just a shade under 10 points a game on the series. He also did make up for his mistakes with a couple hoops in overtime. The Rick Dalton award for most recognizable moment goes to, well, actually, I've got a pair of winners and both are from the pregame coverage from this game. First up, the legendary Kobe Bryant blue tracksuit and bucket hat. I feel like I've seen this clip or image so many times, didn't realize this was the game it originated in. Also, pretty sure this look is back in style in 2021. And the second Rick Dalton moment goes to Coach Larry Bird. Yeah, I bet a lot of you didn't know or didn't remember that Larry Legend coached Indiana for 3 seasons. He actually quit coaching after this finals appearance and never returned to the sideline again. And finally, the Mark Jackson,
with all due respect,
award for weirdest moment in this game goes to Steve Javie before he was sequestered in his basement for the rest of his life.
Kind of big, and if you did the same, someone does that to you, don't move. He don't wait. It doesn't take much to make him go.
Ah, good old Steve, back when he was busy getting calls wrong in actual finals games instead of just on the broadcast. And that's it. The LA Lakers beat the Indiana Pacers 120-118 on June 14th, 2000. It was Kobe's coming out party on the NBA's biggest stage as a 21-year-old. If you enjoyed this episode of the show, please consider dropping a like down below, and if you can see yourself watching a few more, I would suggest subscribing. Why not? Also, leave me a comment down below on literally anything from this video. They all help the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate reading your guys' feedback. Next week, we look at Kobe during a much more tumultuous time in his career, but a time in which he was getting buckets in a very large way. But until then, I'm Jay Canada, and this has been Basketball Cinema. A devastating ankle roll landing on Jalen's busy having arguably the greatest darn it. Moments later, though, a huge spot. Well, maybe not worth it. Well, maybe not worth it. Oh my goodness, I can't say that. Another huge shot to give Andy. Another big shot. Buckets in a really big. I don't know.